Certainly good morning to everyone. We certainly, on behalf of the officers and members of Martin Street Baptist Church, we would like to welcome you all here. We certainly pray God's blessings over you all. We certainly extend a special welcome to Reverend Barber and all of the NAACP staff, and we pray that everything that is said and done here today will be a blessing. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Daphne Holmes Johnson, the North Carolina State Conference Convention Planning Chair for the NAACP. I'd like to say good morning to all of the media that's with us this morning, and also thank you, Dr. Singleton, for allowing us to host this press conference. We are excited to be here in Raleigh. We would like to invite the greater Raleigh community and all surrounding areas to our 74th annual state convention, which will begin October 5th and run through October 7th. We feel very fortunate during this convention to have with us Bishop William Barber III. I know all of you have heard William Barber the second. I'm sorry, William Barber II. Excuse me, Will. William Barber II. Many of you have come to that name of president of the North Carolina NAACP State Conference is synonymous with his name. He now will still remain with us as Bishop William Barber II, Emeritus President, and a permanent member of the Executive Committee by virtue of all of his hard work during his 12 years of tenure. We have an exciting convention for you. This is a civil rights convention for you to learn, to be entertained, to be prayed for, to continue the movement. We will bring you many, many speakers, many plenary workshops, and you will get to have fellowship with the greater area of Raleigh and other members that join us from across the nation. Now I bring to you Bishop William Barber II.
The second. I don't think William would like that. He's the third. Y'all come on up close. Let me thank our pastor for welcoming us here, because this will be one of our sites during our convention this year. It has been my privilege, 12 years. This will be my last state convention as state president, but I'm honored that the executive committee unanimously, by their own decision, to allow me to be named as president emeritus of the state conference. That is quite humbling, considering that I started years ago as a youth president in a little county called Washington County, which is way down east. But also one of the counties we don't often talk about in this state, but has a real rich civil rights history. The North Carolina NAACP 74th Annual Convention, and Ms. Daphne Holmes is our convention chair and has been doing a tremendous job with our planning group. I want to do three things here today. I want to say something about the convention, talk about the redistricting case. I know there are many media that are watching by live stream, and a briefing filing that we're going to make today. And then I also want to introduce our new executive director for the North Carolina NAACP, and allow him to have brief remarks on today. The convention will kick off on Thursday, October the 5th, with Religious Emphasis Day. And we will start the day with a remembrance of all of our members who have passed over the last year. And then there will be a luncheon where the Reverend Julie Peoples of Greensboro will be the luncheon speaker. After lunch, we were going to have a special session with Forward Justice, the nonprofit law group, and Reverend Jesse Jackson, and others will come to talk about the next phases in the fight for voting rights. Recently in Illinois, they became one of a few states to have automatic registration. The argument is if you can be automatically registered to vote, to go to war at 18, you should be automatically registered to vote on those who send you there. And so as we fight on the defense against voter suppression and racist redistricting, we also must have an offense. And the next stage of offense is to begin to battle for automatic registration. And we want in North Carolina to be the first of the southern states to push for that. On that day, we will also have the Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, who's the co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, serving with me across the nation. She will be here as one of our presenters. We will also have on the mass meeting on Thursday night a very historic moment, the first time ever in the history of the state conference, where we will have a Jewish rabbi to speak for the mass meeting.
Very good.
Right here at Martin Street, the Rabbi Jonah Pressner, who's the director of Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, and he's led that center since 2015, which is one of the most active and important Jewish centers, not just in America, but in the world. Rabbi Pressner has been named one of the most influential rabbis in America. And he's been a tireless advocate for social justice. He's been a tireless advocate for the LGBTQ community. He's been a tireless advocate for voting rights. He's been a tireless advocate for living wages, and he will be here as our mass meeting preacher for that night on Thursday. Some of the other things that will go on during the course of the week, we will have workshops dealing with our voting rights, redistricting, the battles we've won, and now because of those victories, what we have to do in 2018. We will have a serious overview of what this current legislature have done and how it's had a negative impact on our state. And we will lift up the few positive things that have also been done. On Saturday morning, I will deliver my final state of civil rights on Saturday morning at 10:30, and the public is invited. It will also be live streamed across the nation, and I will not say farewell, but say thank you, but also talk about where we go, because as I said, we may be stepping down from the state conference presidency, but we're still very much a part of the state conference and part of the work of the NAACP. And we're still serving on the national board, and even now, as we're traveling across the nation to 15 different states, training people and preparing people for the Poor People's Campaign, the civil rights and addressing racism is right at the center of that work. And the president and the chair of our national board have been very supportive of this work and understand the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, is an important work that has to be done along with many other activities throughout the country. I do want to say that with this convention, our new interim president and CEO, Derek Johnson, Attorney Derek Johnson, will be with us on Friday. Will be with us on Friday. And I want to say, when those say that the NAACP doesn't have relevance, they really don't know what they're talking about. It's not just North Carolina. Look at what's happening in Texas and how they're fighting down there and winning cases, and in Mississippi and in Georgia, and my good friends out where Derek is from in Mississippi and in California and in Virginia. So we're going to be talking about this body of work that stands on top of over 109 years of history. Right. He'll be with us. On Saturday, U.S. Senator Cory Booker will be with us. He is a major force, and I believe the first African-American senator from New Jersey, and has some roots, I believe, from down, as most black folk in the North do, from down south. But he will be here with us. He was just recently a co-signer on the Medicare for All bill that was just introduced, which NAACP has long believed that universal health care for everybody is not only a civil right, it is a human right.
That's right.
And it needs to be done. On our banquet, Roland Martin will be here. Roland Martin is coming in for our banquet on Saturday night, who is a leader with News One and a tremendous voice. Also for the labor and industry breakfast, International President of SEIU, Mary Kay Henry, who's been a major figure. She's a tremendous woman and has helped to inspire and support the fight for 15, which I believe is as important a movement as SNCC was in the 1960s.
That's right.
On Friday, we will also hold for all lawyers that desire to be here CLE, and the sessions will deal with education of equity, environmental justice, and protecting political action, voting rights, criminal justice forum. It is the Romulus O'Malley, Murphy, CLE, and we instituted this under our 10-year to honor all of the many lawyers that have helped out. You will have persons like distinguished lawyers Irv Joyner, Al McShirley, Caitlin Swain, Darrell Atkinson, Jamie Cole, who used to be with us, and others will be a part of this session on Friday. We also know that this is an election year for the NAACP. We are a body where presidents and other officers are elected, so that will be going on as well. And we will get out to the media all of the sessions that are open to the media, as we will also have business sessions during this time. Lastly, there are a couple of issues that we are yet dealing with, and we will be presenting at the state conference, but there are also some that are very important. Today is the anniversary of those 4 girls being blown up in a Birmingham church some 15 days after my own birth. I was born in 1963, and 15 days after that, 4 girls were blown up in a Birmingham church after they had won the Birmingham protest.
That's right.
And after the March on Washington. White supremacists who were emboldened by a governor who had a lot of mouth and who was constantly spewing vile language and who was endorsing white supremacy. He gave license.
That's right.
And in February of 1963, and by June, Medgar Evers was dead, and by September, 4 girls were dead, and by November, a president was dead.
That's right.
But on this day, we remember them. And that was before there was a Voting Rights Act and before there was a Civil Rights Act. These girls, as Dr. King said, were martyrs, but in their death, they had something to say. And they were calling America to deal with the issues of racism. Today, this afternoon at 5 o'clock, we will file in their memory and in the memory of all the martyrs an amicus brief in federal court in front of a 3-panel judge. We've been in a 6-year battle for fair and legal electoral district maps for the state's General Assembly and our other elected offices at the state and congressional level. We've been fighting against entrenched systemic racism. The courts have called this kind of racial gerrymandering unconstitutional, even the Roberts Court. And this afternoon before 5, the NAACP will stand with the plaintiffs challenging the General Assembly's most recent attempt to circumvent the will of the people in what they call remedial maps that do not remedy the racial gerrymandering.
That's right.
They cannot be trusted. They were the ones that created the problems, and they continue to engage in racialized redistricting. It is wrong. It is a violation of our Constitution. It's a violation of our deepest moral rights, and it is a violation of all of the martyrs.
That's right.
All of the martyrs and their legacy and their sacrifice. And we will fight them with everything we have.
Yes.
We've already won in the courts,
That's
in the
right.
federal courts. Our case is still making its way through the state courts because our states, the old state Supreme Court in this North Carolina did not properly act on these redistricting matters. But we're going to urge the court not to accept these bad faith maps from the State General
Yes.
Assembly. We are going to call on the courts to appoint a master drawer to redraw these lines.
Good.
And we continue to say that this General Assembly should not be allowed to pass any more legislation
Good.
until we have new maps and a new General Assembly.
Good.
Because they are in fact unconstitutionally
That's right.
constituted.
That's right.
And have been so for 6 years. And I
That's
want
right.
people in this country to
Teach.
understand, and this state, you have people in office who cheated.
That's right.
People in office who use racism to draw racist maps.
That's right.
Who won elections because of that.
That's right.
And ever since then, they have been passing legislation that's hurt black people, white people, brown people, that have literally hurt the people of North Carolina.
That's right.
And the only way they got into office was because they used systemic racist
That's
tactics.
right. Teach.
I continue to say to folks, if you really want to talk about white supremacy, let's talk about policy.
That's right. That's
Let's
right.
talk about policy. Let's talk about policies that are being implemented in these state houses all over the country. Now, finally, one matter that we're not going to let go is the matter of Dontae Sharpe.
Yes.
And I call on our Democratic governor and our Attorney General to provide Dontae Sharpe a special prosecutor. He's been in jail 19 years for a crime he did not do. Every time I drive past the prison on Highway 70, my heart aches to think that that man is in prison, and even the prison personnel know that he should not be there.
That's right.
His mother is going to be at our convention, and we're struggling. I'm really struggling, and I will say this with, we invite governors and we invite attorney generals to come to our state conference, but this is no time to come and play and give platitudes while a mother is sitting right there.
That's right. That's right.
Our mother's sitting right there, and she knows the person that has the title, and it doesn't matter to us, Democrat or Republican.
That's
they have
right.
the power. You only have to pardon the man. He should be pardoned
That's right.
right now. He should be exonerated. But Dontae and the Duke Law and Innocent Project is willing to have his case reviewed in front of a special prosecutor.
All right.
The facts are with us. The facts are with him. And we don't want what happened, for instance, with the case of the Wilmington 10,
Thank
where
you.
Democrats and Republicans for 40 years nearly
Thank you.
played games with their lives. We don't want what happened to Darrell Hunt, who's
That's
no
right.
longer with us, where they played games and they let him out for a minute, then put him back in and just continued to play games, all the while knowing that the man was innocent.
That's right.
Dontae Sharpe should have a special prosecutor.
That's right.
Dontae Sharpe should be set free. And I'm wrestling, and I'll say it publicly, and I can say this as state president, with whether or not we need to de-invite or disinvite persons to come, because it is hypocrisy.
That's right. Teach.
And some people have said to me, well, we agree on one or two things. Well, let me tell you what Benjamin Franklin said. Benjamin Franklin said, it would be better for 100 guilty men
Teach.
to go free
That's right.
than one innocent man to be wrongly
That's
incarcerated.
Right. That's right. That's right.
I want to ask the media who are here, to call the governor and the attorney general and put pressure and ask them, when are you going to give Dontae Sharpe a special prosecutor? It would be a powerful thing to do it before this state convention, but we're not going to let it go because he should be set free. Let me now ask, I think our people with the Raleigh Convention Center had to leave, but we blessed them. Let me ask Dr. Roof if he would come and just say a brief word. He is our new executive director. We are excited to have this young man with us. He's very well trained. And it is the first time in the history of the North Carolina NAACP that we've had an earned African-American PhD to lead as our executive director, who has also a heart for activism. So, Dr. Roof, would you come?
I want to say it's an honor to be here today. I am deeply humbled and honored for the opportunity to lead the NAACP's North Carolina State Office as executive director. I want to thank the executive committee members, the president, the VPs. Most importantly, I want to thank the local branches for entrusting me with this position. I am confident that I can help sustain and contribute to the great legacy of the NAACP of North Carolina. And with that, forward together.
Now one step back.
We are excited about this leadership. We have the largest state conference in the South. This year we were awarded, had the most membership growth in the entire country. We also won this year, the state conference, the highest award for legal activism. We were co-winners with Texas. And so, Dr. Roof, we have tried to, they say that the test of leadership is that when you come to something, you leave it better than you found it.
All right. That's
And you try to make sure that you leave legacy. And legacy is not so much what you do, but legacy is the kind of things you put in place for those who follow you, that they can do that and some more. And so that's what we have tried to do. Are the members of the media, any questions this morning from anyone? All right, to all of you online, if you have any questions, the media, please call our office, 919-682-4700, is that right?
Yes, sir.
682. And any persons that wish to sponsor the state convention, call our state office. Some of you said you'd like to do gifts in my name over the 12 years, fine, give it to the NAACP. Bless this state conference. You know, those of us who are elected are volunteers, and our greatest concern is to see that the work continues. If you want tickets to any of the events you've heard, the political action with Cory Brooker, the luncheon, membership luncheon with Attorney Derek Johnson, the banquet with Roland Martin, or the labor and industry with Mary Kay Henry, please call our office soon, ASAP. Is that right? Yes. As soon as possible. All right. As ASAP. Call, man, and get information. Thank you so much, members of the media, for being here.